Welcome to the Marketing Smarts live show by MarketingProfs and Marketing Smarts podcast, where we dive into B2B news, resources, valuable guest content, and much, much more each and every week. Hey, if you're a B2B marketer looking for a place to learn, keep up to date, and have some fun along the way, you know I'm your guy. Grab a beverage and a notepad and welcome to the show. Hello to all the Marketing Smarts live viewers today. I'm super excited to bring you episode 4 of the Marketing Smarts live show. And to be honest, a topic that I personally am super duper. How many supers can I add before I would annoy people? Super duper passionate about this topic. That's right. I'm your boy, George B. Thomas, speaker, trainer, catalyst, and host of this here show, the Marketing Smarts YouTube live show, as well as the Marketing Smarts podcast, which can be found on your favorite podcast app. Jennifer, glad you're joining in from Louisville, Kentucky, it looks like. Amazing. Well, today's topic is a B2B marketer's guide. Yep, that's you, by the way. Guide to YouTube for business. And of course, whatever tips, tricks, strategies, best practices that hit this brain, my brain, along the way for our fantastic journey. I almost said fantastic voyage, but that would be coolio. And I don't know if everybody's down with that. But our guest clips today are brought to you by none other than Nick Nimmin. Nick Nimmin teaches creators and professionals how to maximize YouTube by sharing the tools, resources, and information needed to thrive on the YouTube platform. Listen, in all honesty, I've been watching Nick for over 3 years, maybe longer, and he is one of my go-to resources pertaining to leveraging YouTube for marketing, for communication, for a lot of things. Now, remember, the clips of Nick today are pulled from the full Marketing Smarts podcast episode. And if you want to listen to the full interview with Nick and myself, make sure to tune in to the Marketing Smarts podcast. Link to that full show will be in the description below after this live show ends. That's right. All the links in all the right places, but only after the show ends. Now, when you think about YouTube, do you immediately think about business video? Do you inherently think best B2B marketing channel ever? Well, to be honest, maybe not. But I think at least some of you will or might change your mind today. You see, you have to ask yourself, are your marketing efforts pointing to sales? Do you want great organic reach? Do you want to have evergreen resources? By all that is holy, I hope that somebody out there is shouting amen and yes to all of these. But if you answered yes to all or any of these, then YouTube might be your B2B marketing nirvana. Say it's not true. Let's see what Nick had to say when I asked him why B2B marketers should be thinking about YouTube for business.
You can really leverage YouTube in major ways to bring attention to your business, which then ultimately ends up, as leads, which then ultimately will end up, as sales for some of those as well. And people that are not currently using YouTube as, at least one tool to bring attention to their business, they are essentially being left behind by other people that are, because the organic reach that you can get on YouTube without any ad spend at all, without spending a dime, is substantial. And in order to reach that, though, of course, you have to be able to make content that, people respond to in a positive way. But as soon as you get that part down, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It just has to add value to the people that you're trying to reach. But once you do that, then YouTube does all the heavy lifting for you. So then at that point in time, you don't have to, have a big ad budget or anything like that, because a lot of, or in some cases, even all of or majority of your traffic will end up coming from your social media efforts, and in a lot of cases that will be dominated by the traffic that you're getting on YouTube.
They are essentially getting left behind. Oh my, did you hear that? Without spending a dime on ad spend. I was like, heck yeah, brother, let's go. But it got even better because Nick turned his thoughts to the power of evergreen videos on YouTube. He talked about the long-term benefits. Now, I have to ask you, what efforts are you making in your marketing that are giving you long-term benefits? I'll give you a minute. Jot down a note. Hopefully you got that notepad. But seriously, let's look at what Nick had to say talking about evergreen content, long-term benefits, as B2B marketers with YouTube video?
Because one long form video on YouTube, you can upload that video, and as long as it's a good video in terms of people respond to it in a positive way, in terms of choosing to click on it and then watching it, enjoying that content, then what's going to happen is YouTube is going to continue to show that content to people until people stop responding to it. And with traffic on YouTube, what can happen is you'll get spikes and you'll get valleys and things like that. However, it stays, long term. I have videos that I uploaded in 2014 that still generate income for me on a regular basis. They're search-based videos, and people will come into those videos and, they'll find out about an affiliate offer or something like that I have, and they'll end up converting through that. So, the long-term benefit of uploading long-form content is huge.
Think about that. Having videos that generate leads, in your case as a B2B marketer, for years to come, or maybe even revenue, depending on what you're doing. But that evergreen content, that years and years of lead generation in place, working for your business, such good stuff. Hey, listen, we'll get back to Nick and his thoughts on YouTube, but I have to ask, are you part of the MarketingProfs community? If not, become part of the MarketingProfs community by heading over to mprofs.com/MP today. That's right, mprofs.com/MP today. Now it's time for In the B2B News. I really got to get some sound effects. Anybody like sound effects? Know people that does sound effects? I got to get some typewriters, something for these sections. But in the B2B News, where we talk about breaking B2B news or really important tips that we find on the Google News tab related to you and your B2B marketing or B2B business. Now, today's in the news section, what is digital marketing attribution and why it's important to your B2B business? I think this one stuck out to me this week because of the conversation that I had with Nick in our interview about reporting success with your YouTube efforts. But this article is also over 2,000 plus words of attribution reporting value. 2,000 plus words of attribution reporting value that you can dive into. It talks about what is, as well as items like attribution overview, assisted conversions, cross-device activity, top paths, and so much more. I love the section in this article that goes, the most crucial factor in digital marketing attribution is the accuracy of the insight from the reports. Get the most reliable insights using the right attribution software for your online and offline campaigns. You'll need more than an analytics platform to provide exceptional campaign insights. And when I read that and I was thinking about you, the Marketing Smarts Live show viewers, I was like, well, they have to ask themselves, do they have a tool in place? Now, to read the full article, check out the link in the description below after this fantastic live broadcast. That's right. All the right links in all the right places at exactly the right time, because I don't want you to click on it now. Anyway, let's get back to Nick and his Marketing Smarts podcast episode. I wanted to dig into how should B2B marketers get started? Where should their mind, goals, and other items be pointing towards? Because getting started right is a great way to get started, because then you don't have to go back and fix things. But pertaining to the minds, the goals, and other items B2B marketers should be thinking about, here's what Nick had to say.
Right out of the gate, you have to set yourself a solid foundation. If you're doing it for business, it's a totally different approach than if you're like, hey, I just want to, share what it is that I'm creating with the world as a content creator. Totally different approach, because when you're uploading as a business, you are uploading for the purpose of generating awareness, leads, and sales. So because of that, you have to make sure that when you are first getting started, that you are very clear on who is it exactly that we're going to be reaching, what is it exactly that we're going to be tracking.
Did you hear that? Know thy audience. I might be preaching to the choir here. I fully get it. But in marketing terms, do you have those ideal client profiles and those buyer personas in place? And before you hit the record on your camera, before you bought the best mic ever, before you decided if it should be like live or just recorded video, were you like, how can we serve these folks moving forward? How can we serve these folks moving forward? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Yes, we do. So let's see actually what Nick had to say a little bit deeper, because I wanted to dig a little bit deeper there.
A lot of companies, when they start YouTube channels, they focus everything on how many views are we getting, how many subscribers are we getting, when the reason that they started the YouTube channel is to actually get leads and sales. So because of that, instead of, focusing on, how many views you get, of course, more views for the right audience will end up generating more leads and sales for you. However, the thing that you need to be focusing on first is, hey, how are we converting these people that are coming in? Because if you focus on understanding who it is that you're after, and you focus on understanding, how exactly you're wanting them to convert, and you're tracking that, you'll learn very quickly when we upload videos about these types of things, they convert at a higher rate than when we upload videos about these types of things. And that can help you fine tune your content early. So getting crystal clear on who it is that you're trying to reach with your content, and also the goals that you have that are not just based on subscriber counts and view counts.
All right, I have to ask you, what are your thoughts about getting started with YouTube, or the potential pitfalls? Keep the conversation going by using the hashtag MPB2B, and let me know. Now, we'll get back to Nick in a few minutes, where we dive into branding, colors, the things that are most important to your future YouTube success. But first, it's time for some dope B2B learnings from the vault of MarketingProfs articles. That's right. It's time to dig into the treasure trove of valuable information and pull out 2 pieces of gold to help you be a better B2B marketer. Yep, that's right. That's how much we love you. Now, since we're talking about YouTube and therefore video, that's kind of the direction that I went in today to help you in your B2B marketing efforts. So article 1 this week is 7 tips for building a video marketing campaign by Andre Antoro. And Andre, I hope I said that right. Please, I hope I said that right. It starts out like this. Video is getting hotter by the day, becoming the most popular of mediums for content marketing and marketing in general. If you're considering using video, here are 7 tips to help you build a solid video marketing campaign. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, 7 tips. And by the way, some valuable insights along the way to help you out. Article 2 this week of this episode, How to Use Video to Provide a Better Customer Experience by Rachel Eisenhower. I'm pretty sure 85, maybe 80. 79%. I got her name right. Yeah, let's go. Anyway, I love this section here. Video marketing makes it personal. Video marketing makes it personal. Most brands have a B2B video marketing strategy, but it's often siloed from their CX strategy, and it often doesn't resonate with viewers. Brands using platforms to push static, stale content fail to consider current and future customer needs. Those that have continued with that approach come off as out of touch. The one thing, if anything, you don't want your company to be is out of touch, or even feel like, smell like, look like it's out of touch. As I sit here and think about this, let's call back to what Nick said. Make content that people will resonate with. And then I think about things that I love to say, like, think about the human, or how to be the most human business. Oh, man, such good stuff. Now, to learn more after this broadcast, to read both articles, head to the link located in the description below. And you know what I'm going to say. Yes, after the live show is over, because it's all the right links in all the right places in the right time. Okay, back to Nick here in a second. But first, ask yourself, what makes your cash register ring? Let me repeat that for the people in the back, in the way back. What makes your cash register ring? Whew. Man, what is it? What do we B2B marketers think of? Do we have the right priorities in place for the right return? Well, here's what Nick had to say about that part of the conversation.
What causes leads and sales to happen? Like, what causes the cash register to ring? Is it people?
Yeah.
So because of that, make sure that you're always prioritizing the humans. Because, as a company, as a marketer especially, you understand the importance of branding, you understand the importance of all of that. And when you come onto YouTube, you're thinking as a marketer, likelihood is pretty high that you're thinking as a marketer, okay, we got to make sure everything's branded. We got to make sure that our thumbnails all look the same way. We got to make sure we're using all the same colors, all these things. The thing that's most important is making sure that you're adding value to the people that you're trying to reach, that you're making a great experience for them in the content, that you're not constantly trying to, for lack of a better way to say it, you're not trying to shove things down their throat, so to speak, in terms of always trying to, sell them. Because when you prioritize the viewer experience and you prioritize how viewers are interacting with your content, and you try to make awesome stuff for them, then the return that you get on that long term is substantial. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of marketers that will go onto, all these social media platforms, and everything they post, buy this, sell, sell, buy. And some people, some people will do that. Like some people will, buy into that for a little bit of time. When you come onto the platform, you're like, hey, we're trying to legitimately help you solve these problems. We're trying to, legitimately lead you down the right path. Then what's going to happen is people are going to start legitimately following you, and they're going to start legitimately being on board. They're going to trust you, which, as a marketer, you know how important that is. So making sure that you're just prioritizing the viewers over everything else in terms of whatever goals we have. The only way we're going to accomplish that goal is if humans respond to what it is that we're doing. So therefore, we got to make sure that we're prioritizing, the viewers on YouTube over everything. Because if we can learn how to make content that the viewers that we're trying to reach respond to in a positive way, and it may or may not be an exact fit of what you think when you first come onto the platform. Like just a quick sidebar for that one. Like as an example, all real estate agents are like, hey, I'm going to go onto YouTube and I'm going to make videos about how to buy and sell houses, right? But there's very few that are thinking of it from the perspective of, you know what, I'm going to become the person about town. And I'm going to be that person that has a live show every Friday that lets people know, hey, these are the things going on. This is the stuff to do around town this weekend. These are the markets that are going on, so that you become a resource for the community that also happens to sell real estate, right? So just making sure that you're thinking like, hey, how can I add that value so that people can get to know us and keep coming back to us. And then, they'll keep getting exposed to the brand through, hey, I'm whatever your name is from whatever your company is. They'll keep getting exposed to it from there. But in terms of, trying to force people to, download stuff and do this, it's effective. But for long term, if you're really wanting to milk YouTube for all it's worth, so to speak, then in that case, just prioritize the viewers over everything else. And then, you'll get avalanched with business.
I love it. I love it. And Craig, thanks for the kind words in the chat. Listen, here's where my mind goes. They're going to follow you. They are going to trust you. Might I say, dare I say, they will fall in love with you and your company, and then doing business becomes a no-brainer because business or selling wasn't the first thing that you were coming with out the gate. Also, I love Nick's story about real estate agents and thinking in a different way. And I have to ask, what is your different way? I'm going to say that again because I think that it is powerful. And I think it's a focus point that B2B marketers need to learn and leverage. What is your different way? If you're like, I don't know, trust me, you should tune into the 2-part series where we did an interview with Sally Hogshead about different is better than better. Listen, I'm not even plugging those episodes. They might be my all-time favorite. Like, I love interviewing a lot of people. I love a lot of interviews. But that 2-part series on different is better than better, and especially around this conversation, if you're like, I don't know what my different is, could be an absolute game changer. Now, my last thought here, I love when Nick said, you'll be avalanched with business. I mean, who doesn't want that, especially if it's the right business because you are focused on the right people at the start? Remember the ideal client profiles, the buyer personas, the first thing, the clip that I played where Nick was like, the right people, and get them to love your content. So that means it'll be the right people that are actually turning into sales. Now, we're going to get back to some words of wisdom from Nick here in a few minutes. But right now, it's time to turn the spotlight on you. That's right. The Marketing Profs community. Yep, it's time for From the Hashtag MP B2B Community. This is where we search far and wide in the hashtag MP B2B universe to find amazing information and conversations to bring to the masses. So first, make sure that you're using that hashtag. And second, make sure you have fun and add value to the community. Then potentially we'll spotlight you or your crew on the show. Now, today's spotlight is Jay Abussel. Jay, I hope I said that right. You are awesome enough for me to understand how to say your name. It was on Twitter, and man, he said, fantastic podcast and interview by @GeorgeB.Thomas with @SallyHogshead. Sound familiar? I just talked about it. But his words here are so powerful. Be better? No thanks. Hashtag be different? Hell yeah. You don't have to be perfect at everything, but you have to be extraordinary at something. How about you? Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. Thanks @MarketingProfs. Can't wait to hear part 2. First of all, I'm humbled. Second of all, love it. And I love there was a cool custom graphic with the tweet as well. Literally, Jay took the time to put a dope graphic to some dope words to help us give some love to that dope episodes with Sally Hogshead. It's absolutely amazing. That is the spotlight for this week. Are you going to be next? I have to ask you, are you going to get the spotlight? Remember, community, use the hashtag MPB2B on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. That's right. I'm looking at, somewhat all the places. I'm sure that there are places you may use it that I'm not looking at because I may be not on those platforms, but I digress because I'd like to shine the light on you and your awesomeness in the next episode or a future episode of the Marketing Smarts live show. Now, this next section, it is one of my favorite, maybe it is just my favorite section on the podcast and maybe even in the show, because I am a big advocate of words of wisdom, learning from other human beings. And so we're going to kick it back to Nick and some words of wisdom around this topic of YouTube for B2B marketers. But I have to be honest with you. We're friends. Can I get real for a second? I mean, I got to get real. Before I play this clip, it took me by surprise. I mean, literally by surprise. It was not at all what I expected Nick to say pertaining to the conversation at hand. But man, did I love it.
Take care of yourself. And take care of yourself just like mentally. We're living in a crazy time right now. It's really easy to get sucked down all these holes that will like neg you out and make you feel like garbage at the end of the day. So, just take care of your mind state because, as entrepreneurs, as marketers, as people that are trying to do cool stuff and make things happen, like our minds are the most important thing. And for every ounce of energy that we give to stuff that doesn't really matter or that takes us down some negative, rabbit hole, that's energy that we can't put into building our businesses and making an impact and a positive impact in the lives of the people that we're trying to reach. My words of wisdom, we'll call it, is to, prioritize your brain and the health of your brain and, your own well-being so that you can, shine your light out and impact others.
Nick is so right. It is so important. These words, take care of yourself, make a positive impact, prioritize your brain and your well-being so you can shine and impact others. Prioritize your brain and your well-being so that you can shine and impact others. Ladies and gentlemen, honestly, it doesn't get better than that. So I guess it's time for me to clock out for the day, to be honest with you. Head to the description below, click on the link to the full Marketing Smarts podcast with Nick Nimmin and keep learning more. That was just a few gems out of the whole episode. If you get value out of today's show, hit that like and better yet, share with a friend. To keep learning more, hit the subscribe or watch additional Marketing Prof videos. Or of course, you could always go tune in to the Marketing Smarts podcast on your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to become part of the Marketing Profs community by heading over to mprofs.com/MP today. And as always, remember to be a happy, helpful, humble, B2B marketing human, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Marketing Smarts Live Show.